Good day and welcome back to the Vitality Project. I'm Dr. Bob and I'm happy for you to join me. Thank you. In our most recent post here, we introduced an exercise in what I think of as imaginative self-reflection, where I asked you to take any quality of yours that you value, then to pick its shadow opposite. That would be a behavior or an attitude which you most typically might judge negatively. And then next, I asked you to remember a time when you acted upon this shadow aspect and to investigate even further how this very quality might actually serve you, at least in some other instances. For example, even though let's say that you pride yourself in always having something funny to say, and maybe this time you got tongue-tied, one way to think about that is that it might have given others a chance to see a more serious side of you, or maybe there would be another circumstance where you're not being the funny one might actually serve you. How about another example? Let's say that you're used to being super competent, very efficient. And let's say that this particular time that you felt ineffectual, you couldn't make any difference. Well, there are certain times where that very quality might give others a sense of relief that you're truly human, which makes me think of something. The ancient Greeks had a word for perfection, teleos, but their word teleos had a lot less to do with what we mean in contemporary English when we use the word perfect. We typically mean being without faults or without blemish. The Greeks didn't mean that with their word teleos. It's translated as perfection, but it's not what we mean in English. What they meant by it, it had more to do with being complete, being a whole person. Think about it for just a second. What would it be like for you to be complete or perfect in the Greek sense, which might entail both your strengths and your vulnerabilities? And as we're suggesting, sometimes these vulnerabilities, these so-called weaknesses, end up having surprising results. They can oftentimes be useful. So I've got another exercise for you, okay? Today, I'd like to try on what Brené Brown, most of us are aware of Brené Brown. She's had some videos on shame that are truly viral. She's one of the really important writers and researchers in shame in the last 10 or 20 years. Brené Brown talks about how she offers a formula for love and for happiness. And in a nutshell, what it means opening ourselves into tender vulnerability towards others. And so in the spirit of Brené Brown's beautiful explication of the value of vulnerability. By the way, vulnerability, the word vulnerable comes from the Latin root vulnus, which simply means wound. So it means being conscious of, first of all, and also being willing to know of our own wounds and to share them with others. So what I want you to do in the spirit of vulnerability, in the spirit of vulness today, is write down one thing that you did this week that you feel vulnerable about, something maybe that you feel bad about, you wish you hadn't done it. Maybe it was a harsh word. Maybe it was you procrastinated on something that you wish you hadn't. Maybe it was an opportunity that came your way and fear stifled you from engaging productively with that opportunity. Once you've identified the situation, I want you to do two more things. First of all, see if you can name what led you to do, or maybe not do, this thing that leaves you feeling yucky. See if you can find the reason underneath that. Why did I procrastinate? What was going on there? See if you can find that reason. And as before, this isn't to find an excuse. It's rather to understand how it is that we can do things sometimes that are counter to our deeper wishes. So that's the first thing. See if you can name what led you to do what you did. And then secondly, see if you can find any redeeming value in this very same behavior. I used the example just now of procrastination. See if you can find value for it in possibly another circumstance. If not this week, maybe another circumstance. So let's say that you were lazy and procrastinating, for example. Maybe there's other times where you really need to unplug. Maybe it's your body's and psyche's way of letting you know that. Maybe you're self-conscious because you feel like you sounded stupid in the interaction. Well, Maybe you did. But maybe there's a time and a place for allowing yourself to feel foolish, just for the heck of it. Let's see what comes up for you in this exercise. I want to thank you for joining me. Appreciate very much your being with me. What we're looking at here are ways of being compassionate towards ourselves. I like to play with the Greek idea, the ancient Greek idea of perfection. And what we're talking about here today is how to be perfectly imperfect. That's very close to the Greek's idea. And so I wish you a perfectly imperfect day and week. Please stay safe, be well, and come back to join me here at your Vitality Project soon. Thanks so much and take care.